Alright guys, welcome back to another video. My name is James.
Ninetale Brush.
And today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing a review of the Clone Wars. So, we had started watching the Clone Wars. It just didn't really seem like the right time. Didn't seem like there was a huge audience for it. But we didn't want to not watch the Clone Wars. So, what I figured is you would just kind of continue watching it, and then we were going to do a big review. And then we're going to watch Season 7 and go straight into The Mandalorian. So that's basically what we're doing. We're doing a Season 1 through 6 overall review of the Clone Wars. We've now both seen all of Season 1 through 6. And then we're going to do Season 7 together on the channel. And then we're going to go straight into The Mandalorian. So, or we might do the sequel trilogy and then go into The Mandalorian. I'm not sure yet. But I just figured that was a better way to do it. We still wanted to watch it, but it just wasn't doing crazy well on the channel. And there was lots of other things that people wanted reactions to. So... there's a lot to talk about, specifically with arcs, but like kind of your overall review, because for a lot of people, this is where the show ended. It got canceled when it got bought by Disney.
Oh, really?
And so people were just like, oh.
That would suck.
Right? And then there were lost episodes, and there was like an episode explaining how Boba got the dent in his helmet, having a duel. Like there are a few things like that, but this is how people thought the show ended.
Okay, well...
Which is kind of cool from your POV then.
Yeah, well, I'd be kind of mad. I'd be like, come on, you gotta complete this story. You don't just leave me here, you know? Like, we haven't gotten to, like, the whole transition kind of yet, you know?
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
I mean, that's interesting.
What did you think overall? I mean, obviously they focus a ton on the clones, which I figured you would like a lot.
I really, really enjoyed. Like... Well, of course, there were some episodes that I thought were, you know, like a little weaker than others. But overall, I thought it was awesome. It was such a fun ride.
Doesn't it add so much to the Star Wars universe?
Dude, it
makes everything better.
Yeah, like little quick moments in like the Star Wars movies, like in the prequels and stuff, for example. Like, you know, I mean, I don't know how much we saw General Grievous, like one time or something.
Yeah, the one
like
time,
one
that's
skirmish
it. Yeah.
Or something like that. But like... After watching the Clone Wars, you get a little more like, oh, I kind of know this character now. It's not like this random like robot dude. It's like, oh, you get like, hey, a little bit of backstory. He's not really, you know, a Jedi or a Sith or whatever. He's like, you know, partially alien, partially like cyber, whatever, you know. And I like that he like collects things. But anyways, like the whole sort of like, you know, filling in
the whole arc about him with his lair and stuff.
Yeah, and just overall, like everything, like, you know, just adding to each of the characters and, you know, getting a little more time with everyone. It's kind of like
or getting a whole new character, Darth Maul.
Oh yeah.
like he was a random stuntman, and then it was like, oh, he's an actual awesome character.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like you get these like characters that you kind of see in the movies, and you're like, oh, okay, they look cool or whatever. Yeah. But now you like actually know who they are, and it's like, whoa, these characters are awesome. You know? So I really love that.
Yeah. So to get into like, did you have favorite elements or characters or like arcs?
I liked Darth Maul and Asajj Ventress's whole thing
with the Night Sisters too.
Yeah, that was really interesting. I totally didn't expect like this weird like ritualistic.
Well, it's so cool because it adds more to the Force. Like,
yeah,
of course,
it's interesting.
It wouldn't just be a dyad. Like, of course, there would be weird gray areas where it's like kind of the dark side of the Force, but it's not Sith. It's just this kind of weird like cult thing.
Yeah.
And I liked that.
Yeah, I found that really interesting. I also found like Asajj's whole kind of like, you know, being abandoned by Dooku a bit, and then kind of figuring out like what the heck she's gonna do, basically.
Yeah.
You know? I like that whole storyline, and then, you know, seeing Darth Maul back, I was like, wait, what?
Darth Maul is one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars because of Clone Wars. He is so cool. But sorry, I don't want to lose the Ventress thing. I think that was really cool because what it really explored to me was like, I hate toxic. It's not the right word, but I can't think of a better word. The toxic master-apprentice relationship with the Sith, where it is really this like, you know, if you ever read the extended universe, which I know technically isn't canon, there's stuff where they'll like, you know, shoot force lightning at them to piss them off, to get them to do, like, it's this very, you see the hate and the anger envelop the relationship at its core.
Yeah, and that's why they're always in danger of being like overthrown or like replaced and stuff.
There's no
right?
trust. It's all built off of hate
and power,
Yeah.
right? It's like whoever has power. It's like if you don't have the control over the other person, that person is now going to take over or something like that, right? That's always how it is.
And that's
so,
even the reason Sidious started the conflict in the first place, because he was worried she was going to kill him.
Yeah, and so that's why, that's how they draw their power. And so that's kind of how the relationship kind of turns out, like between master and apprentice, which honestly it's cool to see. Because, hate and stuff is, all of that is still like a strong sort of emotion, and they're able to draw like power from it. It's just cool to see that it's like a different sort of, I don't know, like strength or something like that, right?
And I like seeing it explored, because with a movie, right, you're always going to focus on your good guys, and so you don't have enough time to really explore like why that relationship is evil and why you shouldn't use your anger, and why it seems like, I mean, maybe not in the Clone Wars, but ideally the Jedi code is the right way to do things.
Yeah, it's just cool to see, because at first Asajj I felt was a little bit like, okay, I don't know, like they never showed this character before, and I thought it was kind of like a, one of those characters that they kind of add in because they needed a character like that or something. Yeah. But it was cool to see like me like starting to actually care for this character, and like, hey, this is a cool sort of like story that they got going.
That was the other thing that I like. Obviously, Clone Wars added a lot to existing characters, like Darth Maul. I think like suspect number one.
Oh yeah,
for sure. But everybody. Yeah. Obi-Wan, Anakin, especially their relationship, him turning to the dark side.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, there's literally compilations on YouTube you can just watch of Anakin turning to the dark side when I have a bad day. Because it's so well done. Like, it is. But also, I think there were the original characters of the Clone Wars that, like, as a Star Wars fan, I remember being a little kid when Clone Wars came out and was like, who are these weirdos, when I was looking at the toys.
Yeah.
And now as a Star Wars fan, it's like, I love these weirdos. Like, Ahsoka, dude, really annoying to begin with. Great character. Rex, great character. Ventress, great. Like, all of these people that they added, I feel like, at least as a Star Wars fan, I, like, want to welcome into the canon.
Yeah. No, same.
Did you have a favorite, I guess, original character?
Favorite original character?
I mean, what did you think of Ahsoka?
I thought, not just original character, but the whole Ahsoka, Anakin kind of, like, breaking apart, but, like, their relationship was really, I thought it was a roller coaster. Like, emotionally too.
For sure.
I mean, because you could see, like, it's kind of like, you're kind of raising this kid almost.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
It kind of reminded me of, Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Yeah,
and for how they kind of, like they were trying to do their best. And I feel like Anakin was trying to, lead Ahsoka to what was right, but then was getting too focused up on, certain like restrictions and things like that. And I feel like Ahsoka started to see that, like, hey, this isn't going the right way, Yeah. And it's cool to kind of see that, like, that play into Anakin's overall change,
Well, it's a weird conversation to have. So I obviously feel free to join in comments, right? This is very opinionated fan base.
Yeah.
I actually tend to think that he did train her well. So unlike Anakin and Obi-Wan, where a lot of people try and say, and I actually think this too, that Obi-Wan to a certain extent kind of failed Anakin, probably because he shouldn't have been his master in the first place, but Qui-Gon died. Whereas actually, I don't think Anakin failed Ahsoka as a Padawan. I think he was the perfect master, and that is why she left.
Yeah.
Because she saw the legitimate corruption in the Jedi Order and them falling from what they had set out to do.
Yeah.
And so she saw these red flags, and she was like, I don't want to be a part of this. I want to leave.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of think of it like Anakin was already brought up in that sort of, that sort of like rule set, that environment. And so for him to change, it would have been a lot harder. But because Ahsoka kind of was brought up under him, she was more willing to question things, kind of, right?
Yeah.
And so because of, whether or not you want to say Anakin's teachings were, you know, a little too freewheeling or whatever, I think regardless, it allowed her to kind of think on her own and kind of make judgments without being too like biased, you know, and that was kind of cool to see. I didn't expect her to kind of, because it always felt like Ahsoka was fairly reliant on Anakin at times, and as the series goes on, you start to see like, oh, you know, she wants to make her own decisions, she wants to push a little more, but I totally didn't expect her to kind of go on her own path, which was really interesting to me.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, now the question is, where's Ahsoka A in this next season, and B, where's Ahsoka in everything? Right? Like, in theory, as far as we know now, she is alive, or does like what happens with Order 66? What?
Well, I mean,
like, we don't know, right? Because she's not in the original series. So where is she? Why wouldn't she come and help Luke?
Yeah. So like the only things I could imagine are these two things, are like, well, three things maybe. Okay, so we either are going to get some sort of like, oh, you know, because this is the thing, I haven't seen the other sequels, right?
Yeah, which is
so
good.
Maybe she appears later on and we just haven't seen her, right? And so it's like, okay, she probably like went off and, I don't know, hid or something like that, right? Or they could explain it by saying she wanted to separate from the Jedi Order completely, and anything, you know, having to do with it, she just like abandoned, kind of. Or we don't see her because she's dead, and this last season is going to show something, right? So those are the things that I'm thinking about.
Right? So I think we're actually going to watch the trailer for the last season. Like, we'll do a reaction for it, because I think that'll be cool. But for the sake of the discussion, I believe people knew this when Season 7 well, they did know this for sure when Season 7 was coming out, is that some parts of Season 7 are going to go into Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to go into it any more than that, but it's not like, because the Clone Wars was always the time between Episode 2 and Episode 3. So this final season is going to give a little bit of overlap.
Beginning? Oh, interesting.
So, it may be completely different things. We don't know, but it's not like Revenge of the Sith is the cutoff point as far as theories go now. This final season is going to go into the timeline of Revenge of the Sith.
That's cool. I like that. Because we're starting to get to like that dark side now, and it's starting to get a little like...
Anakin had the mullet in these last few seasons. You're like, okay.
You're starting to have those eyes, those looks. I'm like, oh, okay.
Starting to hear that Darth Vader theme more. Yeah, it was really cool. Okay, so there's so much to talk about. Obi-Wan and Satine.
That was tragic.
Wasn't that so good, though? Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
That is, like, my favorite storyline in the whole thing. The whole Mandalore, because it's tied to Darth Maul, too.
Yeah.
The whole Mandalore, Death Watch, like, Satine, and the way all of that is done as a kid's show.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, like, the politics, everything. Like, it's just... Like, you wouldn't imagine it as a kid's show. It's got such, like... You know, like, deep themes and things like that, and gray areas, and you're like, wow. You know, like, after watching that, it's like, I don't know, dude. Honestly, when I saw, like, Maul kind of, like, do his thing, I was like, dude, really? I didn't expect that from, you know, like, Clone Wars. Like, we got some...
Dude, when he cut off, like, I was like, oh.
I was like, what? Oh, really?
That's one of the coolest fights, I think, in all of Clone Wars, is, what's his name? Tar Vizsla?
Yeah.
Versus him with the Darksaber.
Yeah.
And we get to hear a little more about the Darksaber, too.
That was cool.
With it, like, being, like, part of...
The,
It's almost like a sword. It's like kind of like King Arthur's sword, almost.
Yeah. No, but... Honestly... Okay. No, I won't say that.
No. Let's hear it. Okay.
Like, I was honestly thinking, like, I kind of really liked the whole Duchess Satine thing and Obi-Wan thing was very interesting because it did explore that sort of, once again, that sort of, you know, what is a Jedi?
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of thing, and...
Well, and just the realistic, like, when you hear, like, oh, Jedi can't get married, like, that's a realistic conflict that's gonna come up. a lot.
Yeah, and the one thing is like, I mean, you start to see these things where when you get personally attached to an individual, because of that attachment, your emotions will not be
in check.
In check as much, right? And you start to see like why, the Jedi are taught to be a certain way, right? Yeah. And I start to see that in not just Obi-Wan and that whole storyline, but also with the other Jedi, like Anakin and Ahsoka and all that. And it's like, it sounds kind of, how should I say, like, idealistic and...
Or arbitrary almost. You're like, why? Like, you just can't get married?
Yeah, it sounds a little too like, like, oh, you gotta be pure or something weird like that.
Yeah.
But, like, it's interesting because there's an actual, like, it feels like there's an actual reason for it,
Yeah, and I don't think it's just marriage either.
No.
Like, I think you see that consistently, like Anakin and Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And I think that was wrong. Like when he goes and he's trying to find info to clear Ahsoka's name, it's like, dude, you're like full dark side. Like, what are you doing?
You're not
and
acting
it's because
like a Jedi.
It's pure personal. It's purely personal, and there's a personal attachment.
Yeah, and when you get that personal attachment, you're almost willing to do anything in order to, get what you need in order to protect that person, right?
Which is why I think that Obi-Wan, it makes like Obi-Wan's arc into Revenge of the Sith really beautiful as well, because it's like, yes, he may have failed Anakin. And there's different camps on that, how much he failed Anakin. But either way, he still was striving to be like a great Jedi. And the fact that he could fight Anakin because now he knows he's wrong shows that he was able to surpass whatever huge amounts of love that he probably had for Anakin, because he raised him.
Yes.
Like, he was able to put that aside because he understood that he had to do what was right.
Yeah.
And that to me is like, wow, that makes him like such an impressive Jedi.
Yeah, I agree. And it's just cool to see like them having to deal, because this is the thing is like when you're part of the Jedi Order, they're almost asking you to be more than human. Yeah. They're saying you need to kind of not overcome, but like sacrifice these human desires in order to kind of, how should I say, like do or be like kind of judges over other people kind of. And so I really like that they're like all the stories kind of like focus around at least with the Jedi, like having to kind of figure out like, okay, well, do I protect the people that I love, or do I focus on the code and what is kind of known to be good, which is it's a really like tough question. Well,
I think also, I mean, and tell me what you think of this. I think more than just they're asking them to not be human, that is what being a Jedi is. And I think that's what is really beautiful about what the Clone Wars, once again, just kind of went into more detail about, is that to be a Jedi, it's not just about the lightsabers and the Force powers.
No,
You have to be something beyond human. You have to be somebody who fights for peace, for good, in a way that a Sith or a bounty hunter or anybody who could just pick up a lightsaber can't. Like that, being a Jedi is more than just the powers and the robes.
Yeah, which is why I think that a lot of times the Jedis kind of failed at being what they kind of needed to be at times, which honestly is understandable.
Well, because they got caught up in politics.
Yes, they got caught up in politics. And like, what was that one Jedi like that made the clones like fight each other? Or
Sifo Dyas? No, the guy with the 4 arms.
Yeah,
right? Dude, he was. That was such a great arc, though, wasn't it?
I was like, wait, what? Like,
wasn't that such a great arc?
Yeah,
I can't remember the guy's name.
Yeah, I forgot what
he's called. The same alien as Obi-Wan's friend in Attack of the Clones in the bar. I know what he looks like too.
Oh yeah,
he's got the big
like thing.
Yeah, I just can't remember his name.
Like, but seeing that sort of Jedi, it's like that's on sort of one side of the spectrum, but it's like having to deal with those kind of like either like politics, ambition, desire for money,
even
anything.
war.
Yeah,
like, and that was something I think the show kept bringing up too. Is it's like, why are we generals?
Yeah,
like this is something that the Jedi maybe shouldn't be doing. We shouldn't be leading troops.
Yeah, and I think we see some of the bad sides of the Jedi there, and then also even on the side of like love and things like with the struggles there, like that can be also at times bad because you will start to value your own desires more than what might be good.
Yeah.
And so I honestly, that's like one of the running themes or whatever that I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah.
About the Jedi and stuff, and how because they're still human, they're struggling to kind of like live up to these expectations, which is I thought that was awesome.
And I think ultimately makes Anakin like 5 times more of a tragic character.
Oh
because it's not like he's just being like, there are times that you can watch Revenge of the Sith and feel like he's just being moody.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is because of sometimes the way the story... It's not that, but you could very easily, just watching Revenge of the Sith, misinterpret it that way. But in the context of Clone Wars, it's like, it's not that. And he does see these problems. He's just going about it the wrong way. And then he has these personal connections.
Yeah.
And so to me, it makes like the character of Darth Vader this like amazingly tragic character without retconning the series.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, oh, look at this secret. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel retconned. It feels very smooth the way they blend the two together and really respectful of the original content, but just like makes it that much more impactful.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And yeah. It does. Like, honestly, Anakin, I didn't really care for him that much. As far as like, the prequels go.
Yeah.
'Cause he did feel like a little bit childish and things like that.
Yeah.
But, after watching him go through these things and having to struggle with these things, it's like you're not seeing like, okay, a kid being a little too like bratty. It's like, no, it's actually him, having to struggle through these, like you're asking a little bit too much of him at times.
And
almost.
it's just, there's a lot more going on than just like he's throwing a fit. Like, it's like, whoa, there's a lot happening here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked that.
Yeah, and really quick back to the
Love.
the whole like arc of like, Duchess Satine and
Oh,
Darth
yeah.
Maul and that, like seeing Palpatine, like I was like, wait, what? Was that one of the first times we see him like actually like fight or something?
Yes.
That was really cool.
Yes.
I was like, whoa.
Like, when he shows up, you're like, oh no.
Because I was like, the whole time you're like, oh dang, Darth Maul, like, popping off. He's the big bad. And then you're like, wait a second. Remember, guys? There's
Remember who's the boss?
Darth Sidious.
And Savage Opress. I thought Savage Opress was dope.
I
really liked
Press
him.
was interesting.
I thought he was a weird character when he first got introduced, but I liked his dynamic with Darth Maul.
Yeah, I did. I mean, he was interesting. I liked Darth Maul. I just think that because Darth Maul and, to me, Duchess Satine, Obi-Wan, and Asajj Ventress, anytime they interacted, like, to me, I liked them a lot more. Mm-hmm. It kind of like
lowered
contrasted a bit, so I didn't really care for him as much, maybe.
Okay,
but like it still was. I mean, it was awesome. Overall, he was
that
like an awesome
Sidious
character.
fight, like him.
Yeah,
like,
what the heck,
well, dude? They're like putting any of the Star Wars movies to shame,
dude,
with some of the duels, like Duchess Satine or Pre Vizsla versus Darth Maul, and Sidious versus Darth Maul and Savage Opress. It's like, whoa,
that was so
back
cool.
off, Star Wars movies. Like,
that was really cool. Because this is the one thing that I feel like the what's it called, the live action movies at times didn't do well, was the sometimes the like Jedi duels at times were a little bit weak, but here when you're able to do the animation, like this is just from the animation side of things, like wow, like they like Palpatine really feels like whoa, watch out, dude. This guy can actually play, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially after seeing all the things that Darth Maul kind of did and like everything that he was kind of building up, and then just seeing Palpatine be like, hey, by the way,
remember who's the master?
Yeah.
And you're like,
whoa, that was really cool.
Yeah, I really liked that. What did you think about the Boba Fett stuff? Just made me smile. I love Boba Fett. We worked on a Boba Fett animation really before you knew anything about Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like you have a little bit of a sweet spot. Like, what did you think? Because we had watched the first arc with him on the channel, but they had the whole train storyline, which I thought was a cool storyline, just separate of Boba Fett, but then having it have Ventress and Boba Fett in it as well, I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that, we just get to see more Boba Fett.
You saw him with the Westar 34 blasters now.
I'm glad that, they're, you can definitely see, him becoming, that kind of sort of, that bounty hunter, a little more cold-hearted and a little more, I don't know what to say, he was always... the arc that we saw before, he still felt a little bit childlike, right?
For sure.
But as, the series sort of progressed and we saw him with that whole arc, he's starting to definitely feel like he's transitioning.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So I thought that was all cool. And of course, just seeing more of, Kid Boba Fett is very interesting to me. It's just,
Now, there was supposed to be a final episode with him and Cad Bane when they had a duel in his, OG Boba Fett armor, which was really cool, but... Whatever, that never happened. You really like Cad Bane. You saw a little more of him.
Yeah,
which is just cool.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of the I'm really.
Is there anybody you'd want to see in live action? Sorry, I kind of jumped on that, but to include Cad Bane in that.
Yeah, I'd say definitely Cad Bane.
Who's your top 3 from the animated show? Even if it's Darth Maul again or something, anybody from Clone Wars that you want to see more of or anything of in live action. Top 3.
Dang, I definitely had a lot.
I know it's a hard one.
Honestly, Rex.
Okay.
Rex would be kind of interesting. Ahsoka, obviously. There's some characters that are already kind of out. Well, out as in dead. So I don't know how we'd see them.
Oh, wait, who?
Well, I was thinking Satine and all that.
Okay,
Obi-Wan. I kind of wanted to see that in live action would be kind of interesting.
That's
but
true.
They're
We'll
already
get
gone.
some flashbacks. There's an Obi-Wan series coming out. Who knows?
I'm missing a few people that I really wanted to see.
We got Savage Opress, we got Ahsoka, we got Rex, or any of the clones. We
we
haven't seen Ventress.
Oh yeah, Ventress. That's one. Definitely, I want to see Ventress because we still don't know what exactly.
We don't know where she is.
Yeah, I don't know because it was almost like she was, she cast away the whole dark side thing, kind of, and then she was kind of like a bounty hunter.
She's kind of the flip side to Ahsoka. But still from the dark side, of course. But she is kind of not quite a Sith Lord, but she's not really good, and she's not really a regular bounty hunter either. Just like Ahsoka. Ahsoka's not quite a Jedi, but she's kind of just out there. I'm sure she can use the Force.
It's kind of like she's on the gray side, but the darker gray, and Ahsoka's on the lighter gray. You know what I'm saying? So
welcome to the complications that are the Star Wars universe. It's no longer light side and dark side, which I like.
That's how it's always been, honestly.
No, that's true.
Yeah, I want to see more of Savage.
Rex would be really cool.
Yeah, Rex and his the whole crew I'm forgetting their names.
Heavy, Fives, all those people.
Yeah.
Heavy's rest in peace. But
shoot, I feel like I'm missing one more person.
What did you think about the clone stuff? We got a lot of clone.
Well, that finally explained because to me,
you heard about Order 66 too.
Yeah, so that was a big thing that I didn't quite understand because to me the clones were always pretty cool, but then I realized that they literally turned on the Jedi and they killed them. And I was like, wait,
which is why I didn't say anything.
I was like, wait, the clones are literal they're
oh buddy people. Until they get an order from the man upstairs.
And I was like,
sorry,
what? That to me that didn't make a ton of sense because I was like, well, you guys were battle partners, for comrades,
years.
And then Cody just turns around and is like, oh yeah, blast that dude. It's what? Wow. So that made me well, I kind of don't like the clones anymore. But then, as we're going through, we're looking at these clones and I'm like,
oh, I like these guys.
They're they're chill humans, they're really cool. They're brothers with each other, the whole 99 thing, I was like, wow, there's no way that they were just out here oh, by the way, the guy upstairs was we got to take care of one of my best friends. Okay,
there goes all the years of service.
I was like, what? Okay, so that to me was really honestly I was kind of expecting something it had to have been something because there's no way these people with this much emotion, this much camaraderie.
They're people. They're real people.
Yeah. We're gonna turn on these people, and so I was like, okay, it's got to be some weird thing.
Yeah.
And so honestly, I was relieved that it was wasn't exactly their fault.
Yeah.
So that was interesting though. I like the whole how I keep forgetting who it was.
We got Fives. We got Echo. Echo was the one that dealt with it the most.
Yeah. I like how I forgot which clone it was, but that killed one of the Jedi, one of the Jedi sisters.
Yeah.
To me, I was like, oh, it's like interesting because it was like it's almost like there was like leaking or something. Like
it like messed
the order
up.
was kind
like
of messing
glitched.
up.
Yeah.
So to me, seeing that whole like, the whole dealing with like, kind of like everyone thinking that you're not in the right mind, but knowing this like knowledge.
You didn't choose to do it.
Yeah. It was really like, of course, it was relieving because I knew that, okay, there was something bigger at play. And so the characters that I really enjoyed, liking or getting to know aren't these like evil people, but it was also super like sad that like they were that close to like possibly, like, I'm assuming that was one of the biggest, like, I don't know if he had any backup plans, in like other comics or things like that, but like to me it felt like if they only listened to him, like it could have like changed everything.
It makes it really tragic. Yeah.
Which is like,
it's heartbreaking.
It was so sad. I was like, what, really?
And it makes the Kaminoans really evil too. It's like, you guys suck.
Yeah, like what, really?
Because at least some of them have to know.
Yeah.
Something.
I mean, it just sucks because like, I mean, you get, you see later on like Cody and stuff, and them having to turn on their, I think, Yoda like killing his commander. Like to me, like there must have been a lot of like, struggle and things like that, right? Yeah. Having to do that kind of stuff, and it's like it makes everything so much more like tragic.
And what happened with Rex?
Yeah, which is like did
Rex.
Anakin, because like Anakin is there, right? But we never saw like, I don't think we ever saw any of like his clones or anything like that.
We saw the 501st kill the Jedi Temple.
We did.
That was the 501st.
I didn't see Rex though.
So that's what I'm just saying to give you the clue. We did see the blue 501st march on the Jedi Temple. We don't know if Rex was there.
We know Cody definitely.
We saw Cody. We know Cody. We didn't see Rex in the final movie, but we did see the 501st on Coruscant.
This is the harsh like part of these series is like with Ahsoka, with like Rex. You don't see them, like the future, but you don't see them in the future. So like anything's up for grabs.
Yeah, they're the original characters.
So it's like, wow, okay,
Ventress,
great.
Them. So
like that means like they
going into this final season, this 1,000% kill material right there.
Yeah, I just hope it just sucks because like Rex and Anakin have such a like cool like bond that they got going.
In theory, he could work for the Empire.
Yeah, but the thing is, this is like
if he just turns, but I don't know the nuances of Order 66 necessarily. So I think if he was in a room with Anakin, he'd try to kill Anakin, whether he's technically Darth Vader or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure how exactly that kind of plays out. You know, because like Anakin, when Order 66 happened, Anakin was all with it. And so the clones were like shooting him.
So I mean, maybe he's just like, oh yeah, let's switch it out for a white helmet, and I'm your best homie.
Yeah, I don't
Wasn't
know.
it cool seeing Tarkin?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I totally forgot. Wasn't that so awesome? And how him and Anakin kept like agreeing about stuff, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so dark.
Like, oh, I know now.
It's like, oh, Captain Tarkin. Okay.
Yeah. I've seen you.
And how he slowly goes up the ranks and stuff. Like, even in the series, thought that was so cool.
It was really cool.
So yeah, overall, I feel like you really liked it.
Oh yeah,
I really liked it.
Really quick before we end it,
of course.
I want to talk a little bit about like the final season. Season 6.
The final part
the final part of where we watched, kind of.
Yeah, of season 6.
There was a few cool moments throughout the series. I think one of the coolest moments to me was not only animation wise, but like kind of, what do you call it? Thought-provoking wise, like the whole like confrontation between like Yoda, Dooku, and Sidious, and like Anakin and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That to me was like really interesting, and I liked how like normally Yoda is like really, he feels like that one, the older, wiser, always in control sort of person. And it's cool to see him kind of struggle at times to figure out what's kind of like the right way to go about things, right?
Well, also with Dooku, right? He was Dooku's master.
Oh yeah.
And so that adds a very high level of personal connection. that he has to struggle with, even if he
Yeah.
doesn't give into it.
And it was cool. I was thinking about this, and I was kind of reading up how they talked about the whole, like, the two forces or whatever. Like, there's, like, you know, I feel like there's a more, like, individual kind of force, and then there's, like, the cosmic sort of, like, force and stuff like that. And how I feel like the Jedi kind of, like, take that one side, even though it doesn't say, like, light and dark side. It's, like, the kind of, like, Jedi kind of take that one side of, like, okay, we kind of, like, are one with
life.
Yeah, with life and sort of that whole thing.
It's very Buddhist, Japanese,
yeah, and then
inspired.
The Sith kind of take it the opposite way of, like, we control our own kind of, like, destiny, and, like, we, like, the more individualistic side of things.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I was reading up on this a little bit, how certain Force ghosts weren't always, they were, like, specific types of Jedi, right?
Yeah.
And I like that it's, like, you know, Qui-Gon wasn't like completely saying, like, okay, I'm one with the cosmic force or whatever. Like, he too kind of went a little bit against the whole by the book sort of teaching. And so to me it was kind of like that balance, you know, between the two.
He understood the deeper truth behind the rules.
Yeah, which was interesting. I really like that whole, like, you know, that whole balance sort of thing.
Which is why I think when people say the reason, like the Dave Filoni thing, when he says it was the duel of fates, it was. Because I think if Qui-Gon had been able to mentor Anakin with his full understanding of the actual nuances and had been able to be like, yeah, you're right. The Jedi Order's wrong about some of these things. Totally right, dude.
Yeah.
He would have been able... I mean, there's a reason he wasn't part of the council either.
Yeah,
Remember, he's separate from the council. Because he was running into some tension and problems with that as well. And there was some legitimate corruption.
And so to me, that was cool to see that, you know, it was like he understood beyond, you know, of course, being that sort of, like, selfish individual, but also not too, like, by the book, we need to be this. You know, it was like he was that perfect balance, and that's why he was able to kind of, like, understand what the Force truly was.
Yeah.
And then, sorry, another cool moment was
the
time where Yoda was fighting Palpatine on the bridge, and he had Anakin in one hand with the Force and was stopping Palpatine with the other, and he had the opportunity to basically drop Anakin, and Palpatine was saying, just kill him. It will kind of, like, ruin my plans or something. It will end everything. Right?
Yeah.
And Yoda wouldn't, which was interesting to me because it's like, I don't know, it's like that whole, you know, he hasn't done anything yet.
And it's the whole fate, right? Because in the end, it ruined Sidious's plans, but also it ended, like, who else could have ended Sidious?
That's true. It's like, in the end, he saw that there would be...
In the end, he was the chosen one.
Yeah.
He was. Nobody was wrong about that. He was the chosen one. He ended the dark side.
Yeah, and there would be Luke in the future. I like that whole, like, you know, Yoda having to deal with these struggles was really cool to me. I thought that was, like, a really epic moment.
Yeah, dude, there's so many epic moments.
There was tons of epic moments. I can't go over them all. I'm honestly forgetting half of them. I probably will go back and be like, oh, yeah, I remember. That was my best moment.
Just you wait for season 7.
Oh, dang.
So, yeah, that... I really enjoyed it. I like how they explained the Force Ghost thing, because everybody's like, why were there not, like, 8 billion Jedi Force Ghosts? I like that. I like that they just explained some things like that in Order 66. Topically, that was just cool. But then there was also some, like, deeper, really just cool emotional moments.
Oh, yeah.
Like that. So, all that being said, we are going to be watching Season 7. So we're going to do a reaction to the Season 7 trailer to kind of get hyped. We're going to be doing Season 7 by arc, so it'll be 3 videos because there's 3 different arcs. We'll watch all the arcs like it's a giant movie. And then... I'm not sure if we're going to do that. I think we might do the sequels next, just because I want to do it in release order, even though technically The Mandalorian doesn't take place. It takes place between these and the sequels.
But it released before.
I think it was released, the sequel was released after. Anyway, so we'll be watching the sequel trilogy, and then we'll watch The Mandalorian. But that's the plan. We're bringing Star Wars back to the channel with a bang. Thank you for being patient. I know there are people kind of asking a few months, like, oh, is Clone Wars coming back? It is. This is kind of our way of bringing it back and dealing with all that while also kind of trying to keep everybody happy on the channel. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, stay tuned for the season 7 trailer reaction, and then we're gonna go straight into watching season 7 and more Star Wars content for you guys. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. We love you all. May the force be with you, and we'll see you guys in the next video.